Ooh, another Zoom meeting. Yay. Oh boy. View. What view? Speaker view. I like speaker view. Full screen. I don't like full screen. Too late for me. Huh. Is that all I get? Okay. I don't like this at all. I got to put up the participants list because that's a thing. That's a thing that I like. And I'm going to put that over here. We're 2 minutes until 1 o'clock. People are ringing the doorbell and they're coming in. So that's a cool thing. Okay. Restrict live to live. Really? Live on YouTube? What does that mean? Live on YouTube. Sign in to continue Zoom. Huh. What if I don't want to? Sign into Google account. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Speaker view, gallery view. Look at all them people in the gallery. We like that. We're going to spotlight. I wanted to pin me. Pin me and spotlight everybody. How about that? So we'll do that. We'll try to do that. That looks good. No. What? Now what have I done? Shoot. Uh-oh. Now all I'm seeing is me. I'm seeing screen and screen of just me. I don't want that. How do I get out of this? Okay, that's better. All righty then. That's 1 minute to 1, and everybody's coming into the chat now. This is good. The doorbell is ringing, and people are coming in. And while you guys are coming in, I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to change my camera to this view. I'm going to grab a couple of pens. I have, of course, actually changed my webcam, so there's that. There's a little bit of a change in the webcam, so I don't have to worry about the webcam flipping out, freaking out, and not being able to focus on the tabletop, which for some reason it didn't want to do last time. Man, I would like to, I'm trying to figure out what to do to balance out the really heavy lines that are down here in the bottom of this thing. And in fact, let's make them bigger. Let's make them even more heavy and thick and whatever, because they just got really done quickly when I was doing this as a demonstration for you guys. And so we're just going to make them a little bit more of what they are. More thick, more black, more bigger. Okay. And then more dense. Make sure that all of the undense portions of this are dense. I hear a lot of doorbells going off. A lot of people are coming into the chat right now. This is good. Okay. So pretty soon we're going to have some nice, big, huge, lovely black lines here with a Sharpie. Okay. And I'm going to finish this one off real quick. So the question, what I wanted to ask was, if I applied big, fat, thick lines to that surface of that area of the composition, that surface of that shape, where else in the composition could I also maybe put some big, bold lines to help balance out that part of the composition? That's what I want to know. And if you guys want to unmute your mic and just chime right in on this thing, you're certainly welcome to do that. Because I don't want to just be the one who always gives all the information. Tristan, welcome to the party. What do you think?
I'm thinking probably somewhere towards the top.
You must be a designer. That's a fantastic idea. Yes, to find some balance in the composition top to bottom, or left to right or on a diagonal. I'd like to do something up here that's bold. And so then I was trying to ask myself, did I want to just do it on this same kind of surface of this box? But then, God, that's a lot of the same of this here. It's a lot of the same or similar horizontal lines, on the same or similar surface of the box. In fact, these two boxes are really bugging me because they're so similar. So I got to figure that one out. But there are so many doorbells of people coming in here that I do probably have to take attendance and see who's all here. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Go back to another thing. Let's expand this. How many people could possibly be in here? Well, a lot of people. So let me kind of sort of take attendance here on week 6. Welcome everybody. Alan is here and Amelia is on page 2 and Connor also on page 2 and Daniela is here right there also on page 2 and Ezra, yeah, and Gabby next to Ezra. Okay, and Jordan. Right there. Okay. And Logan. Okay. And page 2 is done. Okay. So Louise is here. Okay. And Marion is here. Max Sense, oh my gosh, is here too. That's fantastic. Okay. How did that happen? And I lost him. Okay. And Rosalind is, or Rosalind. We never did really establish how to pronounce your name. That's the beauty of me, saying your names over and over again for weeks at a time in a vacuum here in this lonely room all by myself. Feel bad for me, damn it. Tristan is here. Somebody else just snuck in, and then Donovan, all right, is here. So close to a full class, it's not even funny. If Adrielle just happened to show up, we would have like a full house, which would be fantastic. 14, 15, 16 people. That would be great. We'll see what happens here. All right, because I'm giving up on that. And I'm coming back to this. Welcome, everybody. It is 4 minutes after the hour. We got 14 participants here. That's a fantastic thing. Let me just change video cameras again. I was working on this thing, and you may have remembered last time that I actually changed webcam positions. So the webcam that would never focus is now over there on my computer monitor, and that gives you the talking head version of me. The webcam that actually focuses is now up there looking straight at you down at the tabletop, bird's eye view. And so we don't have a webcam that can't make up its mind about what the focus is. So anyway, here we are with this lovely view. And we were just talking about where to put more bold lines. Now I'm going to put some bold lines in here, and then we're going to let you guys critique this because we're going to start off with this one. And then you can tell me how much you hate seeing bold lines in a composition. And then we can fight about it a little bit because, that's what we do. So I'm going to put some bold lines inside of that place. I really wanted to put some bold lines in here. Maybe I'll put some I don't know, semi-bold lines in here. Maybe I'll just put a nice little fatty right there. Something that is not quite so thick, but some pretty thick there, something like that. And run another one here. And I did not ask you guys to get Sharpie pens for this class. And so you're probably going to say that I am cheating by using a Sharpie pen on this project. And you might be right. And you're also, totally at liberty to go get your own damn Sharpie pen. So, be that way if you want to. Anyway, what happens if I just throw some heavy blackness into some of these stripes on this upper box here? And they are sort of here's a linear perspective thing for you guys, as This thing is way above my eye level. My eye level was way right in here, like in the middle of the cylinder was where my eye level was just about, maybe just about like 2/3 up in the cylinder was where the level of my eyes were. And so everything below eye level, below the horizon line, I can see the tops of objects and items and stuff. So I could just barely see the tops of the bowl and the top of that box and the top of that box. Above my eye level, I can't see the tops of objects, but I can see up underneath objects. So you can see that I can see the bottom edge transition of this coffee mug right here. I can sort of see the bottom edge of this tube as it hangs out over that and stuff. As you have these stripes here that are kind of orthogonals that would go back to a vanishing point on the horizon line way off the page over here. All of these would converge if they were extended to a vanishing point on the horizon line. And this one right here is just about the one that is level with my eye right here. And so you can see that the angle of these is sort of changing just a little bit. That was some completely it's not really design oriented because it's more of a drawing class kind of a concept that you learn about linear perspective, but we're here together and I thought I would just say, hey, linear perspective is happening in this composition. Now I say that because I was drawing with a particular paying attention to linear perspective, and some of your drawings may not have linear perspective in them. And in fact, if some of you have never drawn before and you're struggling with trying to construct three-dimensional objects that are in proportion to each other and that deal with the idea of perspective drawing because they are three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional surface, you might have some distortions. And the distortions that you might have in your boxes, for instance, is okay, because those could be considered abstractions. An abstraction, as we have beaten into our own heads now, is the simplification or slight rearrangement of elements in a composition. Sometimes just to satisfy the needs of the artist, and sometimes just to mess with the sensibilities of the viewer. But that's abstraction. And so if you are falling ass backwards into abstraction because you don't feel like that you're a really strong drawer yet, that's okay. So we will talk about that today. I hope that some of you guys have a drawing that's fairly far along that you'd like to share with the class. And if you do, please feel free to jump out of the chat, out of the Zoom meeting, to open up your thing on your desktop to make sure that you've got it. If you don't have it on your desktop, you could actually hold it up in front of the webcam. We can look at it. I didn't even look to see how many of them got done and turned in early, and I didn't open any from this class, but I do have 2 projects from the morning class, and if worse comes to worse, we can even critique those just so that we can look at something to help you guys along. This project was supposed to close tonight, I think, at midnight. I'm not sure, but I thought we had one more day on this project. So I wanted to talk about this one today. So anyway, I made these lines just a little bit stronger to try to see if they would balance out the strength, the visual weight, the visual mass of these really thick lines down here. They seem to help. I'm going to try one more thing up here, and I might do something like this with the old Sharpie pen and just see what happens if I get some striped things going here, because I love this striped stuff. It is very wonderful. Okay, and we have some striped lines, some big, thick, beautiful stripes that are not slimming. No, they are slimming because they're vertical. Vertical stripes are slimming, right? All you fashion designers in there, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, and one more nice, right up tight to this thing right here, which makes the mug stand out. And then we have to guess whether the next stripe is up against the mug, and then we get the last one over here, blah, 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 yada, yada. Okay, fantastic. Sometimes I amuse myself, and so I've just done that. So tell me, does the addition of the thicker lines in the tube and on this surface of this box up here, do those things kind of help visually to balance out the thickness of these lines down here? Or does the thickness of lines down here just offend your sensibilities because they're just too darn thick? I'm open to either interpretation. Please unmute your mics and just go right ahead and just blast it out at me. What do you think about thick lines in the composition? Do you like them or do you hate them? Your opinions matter. Anybody can open up their mic and just tell me what you think about lines. Yes, Adrielle.
I like it because I think it adds just enough contrast to the picture where it doesn't look like you have too many thin lines or too many thick lines. It's good balance.
And you're not just sucking up to me, right?
No, I do like it.
Ah, okay. And you are the last one to come in the door, except for Carly. God, we have like almost a full house here. This is fantastic. So you guys are going to have to fight and elbow each other to try to get in to be able to talk in this critique because there are so many of you. And I'm happy to just have you unmute your mic and just blurt stuff. Okay. So I wanted to see in your drawing a variety of lines. So a variety of thicknesses, maybe doubled up lines in some areas, maybe an alternation of thick and thin lines in some areas, just so that we've got a whole bunch of different variety of lines in the composition, which makes an interesting place for your eye to come to a rest before moving on to other parts of the composition. There's enough harmony in the overall composition to hold it together because they're all just black lines. And they are, of course, I got to back up a second. They are all cross contour lines that are describing the quality of the surface of each object that they are crossing the contour of. So if it's a flat surface, flat planar surface, hopefully those cross contour lines are traveling in a straight line to help us describe and understand the quality of that flat surface. And if it's a curving surface, then they are curving around that surface to help us describe and understand the quality of that surface. Blah. Okay, having said all that, we'll come back to like the talking head because everybody likes the talking head. So now, does anybody have one that they could actually share with the class? I'm going to open up the multiple screen share option here. So now you have the power if you want to share your object. If you could just go ahead and unmute your mic if you're able to do so. And if you are still, oh, look at that, Adrielle is there.
Okay, I have mine. Not super confident in it, but I will share it.
But you are so bold and like courageous. This is great.
All right, let's see. This should be it.
Ah, okay, fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is visible on the screen. And my cursor, I can see my cursor. Adrielle, do you have your cursor handy? Hey, look at that. Hey, yours is black. That's cool too. So you can point at stuff and talk about it if you want. Is there anything you'd like to point at and talk about, or do you just want us to riff on this?
I will say the one thing I don't super love is this one right here was a candle that was like laid sideways. And I feel like my lines get a little bit messy in here, so it's hard to tell that you're looking into the candle.
Was this a used candle that was a little hollowed out on one end?
Yes.
And if it burned down like an inch or so deep or something, and it was just a little bit not quite perfect, but a little kind of organic wacky on the inside, and then of course there was the wick in the bottom and the flat spot where the wax hardened up again.
Yes. Yep.
Well, as long as we know that it's a candle, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's awesome. And it looks different. It appears different than the bowl in the lower register.
Yeah.
That bowl, those lines really do a good job of describing the inside contours of the bowl. I can even see that the bowl has a flat bottom in it. So it has curving sides that go down to a flat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So you worked hard to make these lines do their job and describe the qualities of the surfaces that we're looking at. That's good. Is that other thing a roll of paper towels over there?
It is.
Aha! And you even did a thing where you made the little cardboard thing in the middle a slightly different color value something so that we could kind of tell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wasn't that fun? Okay, so we're, I can see that maybe there's a little bit of something going on with some of the proportions or the linear perspective in some of the boxes. But you know what? I don't mind it at all because we now know that, abstraction is, sometimes simplifying or rearranging things. And so that's cool. And they're all handled similarly. So that's cool too. What I'm really responding to is the wide variety of different kinds of thicknesses, spacings of black lines that describe those surfaces. So, this is for me to like shut up a little bit and let you guys, I don't know, weigh in a little bit. Does anybody want to take the easy question that comes up on each one of these? Is this a vertical or a horizontal composition? Nobody wants the easy softball question. And it's not the last refuge of a scoundrel. It's the first refuge of a scoundrel in this class because it's like, oh, I don't know what else to say. A horizontal, vertical composition. And you would be right. It's at least the format of the paper. Ezra, what's up?
I like these lines that are like little dash marks, like from a sewing machine or something.
Yeah.
These on the boxes.
Yes, that's nice. It almost brings in a texture or a pattern. Of course, just the repetition of lines is also kind of a pattern, rhythmic, all of that kind of stuff that we've been playing with since chapter 2 with rhythms and rhythmic things. But that's good. That brings in a different kind of a rhythm. That was a really good observation. I like that. So Adriel, is this completely done? Are you like so done with this because you're sick of it and everything else? Or would you like to bring any of those thicker lines or something like that into any other part of the composition?
I'm not for sure where I would put it, but I think somewhere like in this area could use some darkening up, whether it be with like the bowl or maybe like these lines in here.
Yes, that's perfect because that would help to give a little weight to the lower left-hand corner and give it a little bit more visual mass so that would help to balance out the upper half of the composition where the lines are thicker. So yes, that'd be fantastic. Even this little darkening of what's going on in the paper towel roll gives a little bit more strength and mass to this. If you came back in here and just made like two huge thick lines here and here, that would help to bring the viewer's eye down there and it would come to rest a little bit more and give a little bit more of a balance in terms of visual mass to this corner, but also maybe thickening every other line, over here. Although then we run into the trouble of, well, that's so similar to this box up here that it starts to double up what's going on in the two boxes. And then we can ask ourselves, well, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Because that would create more unity in the composition because, they would be, so it's a really, it opens up a can of worms because, you can just have to try it and see what works. You could make thicker lines somehow in this area of the box and take a chance that it's somehow different than the thicker lines on this box up here. But anyway, those are all the kinds of things that would help.
Okay.
You're good. You're good. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. You can hit the red button on top of your screen and make the crazy man in the El Diablo shirt come back. I love red. Red is my favorite color. I don't wear this shirt very often because it makes my ass look big. Anyway, here we are. I have a couple to share. Does anybody else have one that they want to share right now that you're just burning to share? If you do, you can unmute your mic and share one. But otherwise, I'm going to go share one for you not seeing any mics turning from red to black. So I'm going to do this really quick here and see what I got. Oh, I've only got one left. Okay, I got one left. So we'll do this. And I've got to get rid of some of my visual clutter here because I got all kinds of stuff all over my screen. So from the morning class, somebody made this thing, and they were playing with drawing, and sometimes when they're drawing out their boxes, the two lines on a surface going away from the viewer might not always be parallel to each other, but you do get a real sense of three-dimensional shape and volume in the composition. And then they covered it with a bunch of lines. I would like you guys to comment on what you think about the quality of these lines, because there are many surfaces covered with thin lines, thin, closely spaced lines. I'm wondering what you think about that. I'm also wondering how you feel about some of the lines that are running across some surfaces of these boxes when the lines don't run parallel to one of the edges of the boxes. For instance, the surface that I'm touching right now with my cursor, these lines are kind of running cattywampus. They're running diagonal, I guess, across the surface of this box so that they're not following, they're not parallel to one of the edges of the box. How does that make you feel? Especially this one up here. This one with the lines kind of running not parallel to an edge of the box almost gave an optical illusion of some kind of strange space thing happening here. Do you guys see that optical illusion, and can you describe it a little bit? They're saying, what is Mr. Fritz talking about today? He is just crazy.
I think it kind of makes it look like the rectangle is open at the top, like you're looking down into it because of the lines.
Yes, that's what they saw this morning. They thought that there was no top on this box and that those were the back interior surfaces of the box descending down into the box. And so that made this bowl look like it was floating on top of the box, suspended over this open end of the box here. So that's a risk that you run when you run these lines at an angle that are not like parallel to one of the edges of the box. Now, to be fair, these lines are straight and they are parallel to each other. And so they do describe a fairly flat surface, a flat planar surface just fine. I get that. That's good. I wanted to ask you guys one more question about this little box right here in the middle. When you see these tiny little lines running through here, and when you see these tiny little lines almost continuing their way over into the next side, the adjacent side of the box over here, does that look like any particular texture that reminds you of?
It looks like wood.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, it does look like wood. So this kind of looked like wood texture to a lot of the people in the morning class, and they liked that. They thought that that really made that box, make it look like it was made out of wood. Some of these boxes look like they're made out of zebras. We got a lot of zebra stuff going on around here, but that was really interesting how we started to evoke the idea of wood texture. Hold on to that thought, because in 4 weeks from now, we're going to be doing a texture project where I'm going to be asking you guys to actually draw an abstract texture, a texture based on reality, but a little bit simplified, possibly a little bit rearranged. And so you'll maybe be drawing your own wood texture in about 4 weeks from now. Okay, coming back to this one. I was wondering how you guys felt about these curving lines down here in this tube that's in the foreground at the bottom of the composition. Now, so these curving lines don't exactly run parallel to the ends of the tube. And so they're not exactly describing the curve of this tube, but they do kind of describe a curve to the surface, just because the lines themselves kind of curve. They kind of fan out a little bit. They all kind of, these lines over on this side fan out a little bit more so that they're almost running horizontally, and these lines are fanning out this way so that they're lining up a little bit more vertically, but none of them really are parallel to an end of the tube. And I was just wondering, A, Does that bother you? Or B, do you think that that's cool and that works just fine?
It actually bothers me quite a bit for some reason. Like,
That's good. So when we compare this cylinder to these two cylinders on the top here, we've got this cylinder with lines kind of going across its contour, and this coffee mug over here with lines running across its contour. You can kind of see that when the lines are actually parallel to the elliptical ends of the cylinder, they describe the form a lot better. And this one creates tension in the viewer because it's not quite doing what you expect it to do. It's not quite doing what's happening, the same kind of thing that's happening in the other cylinders. And then, so of course, we come up to the idea of abstraction and originality. And maybe it could be the artist's intent to create some tension in the viewer by actually, doing this on purpose to mess with you. And that could be one possibility. And some people, there are collectors who spend millions of dollars on paintings by Picasso that all that the painting achieves is the idea that it messes with the viewer and it creates tension and it pisses you off every time you look at it. But it's also done by a famous person. And if you're a rich person and you like to buy famous artwork to decorate your house, sometimes you do things that are pieces of artwork that just mess with you all the time. Sometimes art, especially in the 20th century, is not beautiful. Sometimes it's profound in other ways, including when it messes with your head. I'm sorry. Yeah, yes, Tristan, please go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of the things about the lines is that it kind of looks like one half is shaded and the other half is in like a light spot.
Okay, yes, that's good. Thank you. These are good observations, and I'm glad that you guys want to just make the observations. That's good. And if you could speak up just a little bit more into the mic, that would be even better because I yell into the mic all the time. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, I think I'm done with this one. I'm going to stop this share and come back to the screen. Okay, so I have tortured you for about half an hour, critiquing some of these things and talking about these things. I'm happy to look at anybody else's project if they want to put theirs up. And I'm going to put the participant list back up there so I can see mics come unmuted as they do. If you guys are not coughing up a lung, if you're not coughing constantly and clearing your throat, and if you don't have a dog barking in the background, you're welcome to keep your mic unmuted all the time, except if you're eating a very loud, sandwich for lunch or something like that. Because I want to encourage this kind of dialogue. And sometimes I talk too much, and mostly it's to try to fill in the space when people are reluctant to talk. So hopefully by the end of this quarter, we will have created 16 fire-breathing, crazed maniac designers who really like to talk about composition and design and critique stuff, because that's the point of the critiques. So the idea, and I'm going to go back and make sure that I did this, is to have this project due by tonight at midnight. So try to get this one done. If you have finished the project, but learned something valuable through the critique process and would like to come back to it, feel free to draw on your drawing just a little bit more, rephotograph it, and even upload it again, into the homework. I don't think that you can upload too much stuff until, the homework closes. So that's fine. And if you are so done with this project, if you did the drawing and it's done and you never want to look at a cross contour line drawing again, then you are joining in with lots and lots of art and design students who, despise this particular project, and that would be fine too. If nothing else, I'm going to wrap this up a little early because we did enough critiquing to get you guys thinking about the value and what's going on with cross contour lines and composition. You can see that It's not about drawing, objects accurately in a still life necessarily. It's what you do with them after you get them done. Tristan, yes, please.
Okay, so I turned mine in a little bit early, and I didn't. I kind of did it wrong based on today. So I'm fixing it, and is uploading again an option that I can do still?
I don't know. Give it a try and see if it works. I don't know, but the homework is open until midnight, I think, and so you can try uploading, and I might just get yet another file mixed in with your other stuff, so that might be fine. Give it a try.
Okay.
You guys, this is my first time really working with e-learning in all of its horrors, and so this was the first time I've ever written a quiz and given a quiz through e-learning, and I just got them all critiqued and or corrected, graded, whatever, and stuff like that. There's this steep learning curve and horrible learning process with all of this stuff. So I appreciate you guys working with us during the middle of a pandemic, trying to keep everybody safe and old farts like me from dying. I appreciate that. Thank you for trying to not infect me. And let's see. I know that I said that we're going to do a sculpture class in the winter quarter that's based on figure studies. So I think we're going to have 10 spots in that class, just in case any of you really love sculpture, or in case any of you really love the human figure and would actually like to seriously do some figure study in a sculpture class, because that'll be winter quarter. We're going to start signing up for winter classes in another week or two, I think, and you're going to be having appointments with your advisors, and you can ask to get into certain classes. You just don't have to take what they advise you to get into. So if you're an art major or a design major, of course, take the next class in design, which would be design 116, but also the sculpture class art 192 would be available for you also. I even teach something called bronze casting, art 244. But usually I like it if people have taken a sculpture class or two before they come into bronze casting, because by the time you cast bronze, you're paying a lot of money for the sculpture because you're paying for the bronze. So you want a little bit of experience making sculpture. Tristan, your mic is still on. Did you want to say anything else for the good of the order?
Nope, not really.
Cool. Okay. So I'm going to wrap it up today. Thank you so much. Good luck with this. I'm going to make sure that the assignment is still open so you can turn stuff in. Otherwise, we will see you on Wednesday to start the next part of this project. So until Wednesday, so long for now. From here, bye now.